Oh, hey! Welcome to our presentation about the Benedictines. Who are the Benedictines, you ask? Continue watching and find out. Follow me.
So who was the founder of the Benedictines? Well, the founder of the Benedictines was Saint Benedict of Nursia. Born in 480 AD, he spent his late teens studying in Rome. He found life in Rome spiritually disappointing and decided to turn away to a quiet spot in Subiaco.
Here, in a wild gorge, he dedicated his life to prayer. People with similar mindset sought him. Saint Benedict, in principle, taught them to live a life of prayer and worship God through community.
Some monks found his way of life at Subiaco as rigorous and attempted to poison him. Legend states that when Saint Benedict blessed the cup of poisoned wine, it shattered.
Following this, Saint Benedict founded a monastery in 529 AD, Monte Cassino. Here, he wrote the work, Rule for Monks. The monastic community spiritually flourished, with members when he died in the 540s.
The Benedictines make 3 vows: stability, fidelity, and a monastic way of life. The Benedictines live for God as a community unlike other orders. Stability means commitment. Benedictine monks, unlike Jesuits or missionaries, stay in the monastery they enter, unless they are sent elsewhere.
Fidelity is another commitment where Benedictine monks must renounce their personal possessions and commit to a life of celibacy. A monastic way of life living by the rules St. Benedict instructed. An example is silence. Monks were only to talk when needed. Laughter and gossip were not permitted.
Notable figures of this religious order include bishops, saints, popes, martyrs, dames, and oblates and abbey founders. Some examples are Saint Scholastica, Saint Boniface, and Pope Paschal II.
The Benedictines can be found all over the world. Their headquarters is in Primatial Abbey of San Anselmo.
There is no order for the Benedictines. The requirement for being a Benedictine is to be over the age of 21 and live a religious life in the way St. Benedictine instructed.
You need to submit an application to your local Benedictine monastery and live as a novice for a year before being fully accepted. You will need to wear a scapular, which shows your commitment and obligation to the spiritual life.
The Benedictines are considered the fathers of monastic community living. They were heavily influenced by St. Benedict's founding principles of monastic living and governance. These principles were guided by early saints like St. Anthony of Egypt and St. John Casson, which Benedict drew inspiration from.
So to be Benedictine means to give your entire life to God in an entirely different way. So Benedictine monks take 3 vows. So the first one being stability. So they live in a monastery, which is an area where they can't leave and they live their entire life. I've known monks who've been in the same spot for 75 years, their entire life. So stability. The second one is obedience. So they're obedient not only to the will of God, the Father, but obedient to an abbot, which is the leader of the monastery. And sometimes abbots, leaders ask you to do things that you don't want to do. But out of obedience to, one, the abbot, but also to the Father in heaven, you'll do those things. And 3 is the obedience to the monastic way of life. So the Benedictines follow the rule of St. Benedict, which governs their entire way of life. Everything from prayer times, meal times, what time they wake up, what time they go to bed, how they ought to treat one another, and so on. So that's pretty much what it means to be Benedictine. Those 3 things, as well as just laying down your entire life and wearing the monastic habit, which is really cool. So the motto of the Benedictines is Ora et Labora, which in Latin means pray and work. So that's kind of the way they operate, the way they glorify the Lord is by physical manual labor. So if you go to a monastery, you often find monks either farming or building or fixing some part of the monastery, keeping the grounds, like trimming the grass or planting flowers, those kinds of things. And these things are what keep them disciplined. It's not always easy to do manual labor, but it trains their mind and their body to look towards the Lord, because our time on earth, it's passing, and because of our own fault of our first parents, Adam and Eve, men especially, were kind of given the land to work with, and that's what they do. It's their kind of way of atoning for our first parents' sins. But also, it's part of their charism. They enjoy work. It's what they do. If you want to get something done, you can always ask a group of Benedictine monks, and they'll get it done right away. And yeah, they're a bunch of the ones that I know. They're really into work. They're super strong. They can lift a bunch of heavy things. Yeah, so that's what aura. So that's the pray part of it, the aura, which is work. Sorry, aura is pray. Labora is work, is labor. And the prayer, it's their prayer. In between, other than praying at like their specific prayer times or at Mass, they pray all the time through their work. So, ora et labora means pray and work.
Thank you for watching our presentation. Bye!